What's going on, everybody? It's been a little bit since I've actually been on here. It's been busy. Not even gonna sugarcoat that. Been pretty busy here, but we had a pretty eventful last couple days here on the front for the Orioles, where they have started to come out about interviewing a couple of coaching candidates here, and the first one being the New York Yankees third base coach. I'm blanking his name right now, so I'm searching it up. But yeah, Luis Rojas. So that is a very interesting choice here. Some people think that he's a pretty hot commodity around baseball. Some fans look at him at what he did with the Mets. He was one of the first coaches ever to lead the division for over 100 days and then finish with a below 500 record. So I mean, he's tainted a little bit there. But the Yankees, good organization there. Some of their fans didn't like him at third base coach. Being a third base coach is completely different than being a manager, but that's beside itself. But the whole point of tonight's conversation is Albert Pujols. And some of the people that may or may not like Albert Pujols as a manager, do I really think he's going to get the job? Probably not. If he was going to get the job, he would have been hired on the spot. Let's be completely honest about that. Would have been hired on the spot. The Angels wouldn't have let him leave. I mean, all that history he had there, didn't sign there, didn't sign to Baltimore. This morning he was out in San Diego interviewing for that. So could this all just be smoke and mirrors with Albert Pujols? Very, very likely. But I'm here to kind of maybe talk to you why someone like him might be the right guy for the job. And it's tough to talk about because, look, this team needs a leader, and this team needs a well-seasoned coach who can take them over the hump, who can kind of correct some of their wrongdoings, who can maybe not have them be so baby-fied. It could be the wrong word usage there, but that's what I'm going to use. But I think someone like Albert could do the job. Why? Albert is respected. He's a leader. He's played this game at an extremely high level. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's been around a lot of different players, and everyone and their mother respects him. So finding a very good coaching staff, whether it be kind of novice to the major leagues or not, I wouldn't think it even matters for him. But the thing that I want to touch on the most is a lot of people kind of overlook the World Baseball Classic as an exhibition. And while it might be an exhibition to the United States, it is taken extremely serious overseas. The Dominican, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Japan, Korea, you name it, this is it. This is the most important thing to them. Major league players too. They all go back and they play for their home countries, and they play extremely hard. They play with pride. And who is managing one of the best teams in the world? Albert Pujols. It could be an exhibition for all I care, which it is. But you're taking one of the most respected teams in the world, and they chose Albert Pujols to coach them. Now, look, for the United States, this is a publicity kind of thing. I'm not taking that away. The U.S. doesn't really take this as serious as everybody else. Now, this year's team so far, or next year's team, I should say, is shaping up to be fairly good. Like, they're going to maybe take it serious. The problem is the U.S. never gets anybody on the mound. But I don't know if you guys are diehard baseball fans like me, but when you watch the World Baseball Classic, the Dominican gets after it. They take everything 1,000% serious. I don't think they're just hiring, Albert Pujols to just have fun. No, he's picked to do a job. Rodney Linares is another guy that I would like the O's to interview here. Was also a previous manager for them. So that the most talented, most respected team in the world trusting two of these candidates, why wouldn't they be a good job or a good person for the job? I don't care if they're a rookie or not. I don't care if he's never managed anything a day in his life, which he probably hasn't. It's the fact that one of the best teams in the world trusts him to lead them to a championship. Why shouldn't the Baltimore Orioles? Why shouldn't the LA Angels? Why shouldn't the San Diego Padres? That's just me. I mean, could he be bombing these interviews? Maybe. Maybe he's going in there and absolutely rocking the socks off too, and wants a fairly decent contract with some length to it. We don't know. But someone like Albert, with history in this league, with history with good players, history with, we'll go back to the good players point, but on the pitching side, I mean, you saw how many great players he played with in St. Louis. I mean, to bring any of them over, you hire Albert Pujols, and all of a sudden you have John Mabry and maybe Alan Craig, who's had one of the best postseasons of all time, teaching your hitters. Alan Craig had a great eye. He was a great contact hitter and stuff. Everything this team needs. And then you bring in I don't even know who you could bring in for fielding and base running and stuff like that. But if they stay in that St. Louis way, and Mike Elias came from St. Louis at one point, and he was there when Albert was there. You keep that St. Louis way. They won a lot of baseball games back then. A whole lot. A lot of playoff games too. A couple World Series. So why would there be a backlash to bring in a guy with that kind of pedigree, who's played in that kind of postseason, who's put up that kind of career and done it with a lot of talent around him to bring in the help? I would be ecstatic, rookie or not. I mean, flat out, if you gave me the choice between Ryan Flaherty and Albert Pujols, I'm a big Flaherty guy. I'm taking Albert Pujols. What has Ryan Flaherty done in this league to draw a top-end coach over here to help with either pitching or hitting? What has he done? And who has he done it with? Now ask that same question about Albert Pujols. You know what I mean? Albert's been there. He's done that. He's done it with some really fantastic people. He could, I'm not saying he is, he could be the right guy for the job. I'm only giving you the positive aspects of this. I understand all the negatives around it where they need somebody else. They need a guy who's been proven to win, like a Bruce Bochy or something like that. I get it. I really do get it. But I think the resume doesn't, I shouldn't say it doesn't mean as much nowadays, but I think teams are starting to realize that it's about the right guy. Not about the best guy, but about the right guy. Look at Stephen Vogt. What Stephen Vogt did and how he's still doing it, can somebody else replicate that? Probably not. But he wasn't the best guy for that job. He was the right guy. He was a leader. He was somebody everybody respected. They look up to in the clubhouse. It's small things like that where the right guy is better than the best guy. Bruce Bochy can come in here really quickly. Could he win? Sure, could. But what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? What if the team doesn't take to him like we think they would? What if he's just out of touch with some of the younger players? Now, from what I've seen, he didn't leave Texas on a good note. Some of the players were not the most thrilled with Bruce Bochy. So bringing in, again, the best guy isn't always the right thing anymore, especially when they're starting to all get up there in that age. Buck Showalter, another one. I don't ever want Buck Showalter back here. And it's not because I don't like the guy. I think Buck's a great guy, but he hasn't won anything anywhere he's went. And I'll never live down the Ubaldo Jimenez decision. And I'll never live down that him and his staff gave up on Kevin Gossman and Jake Arrieta. I mean, it's small things like that. Were they great here in their time? Yeah, they had a great roster and they did a lot of great things, but I don't think he would be the guy to lead this team. That's just my personal opinion. But I don't know. I really don't know. And I like what Sean said here. I mean, Flaherty should be the obvious choice. 5 seasons as bench coach under Melvin and Counsell, 6 years as a player under Buck. I get it, 1,000%. His father was a high-level coach. It's in his blood. But again, if it came down to him or Albert Pujols, can I trust Ryan Flaherty to bring in a staff with him? He might be the best guy. But what can he bring? Does that make sense? Like, is he good enough to bring in a high-end pitching coach if it's needed? Is he good enough to bring in somebody on the hitting side. And I seen somebody else ask, Thomas asked, why haven't they fired the batting coaches yet? Thomas, that beats me, to be completely honest with you. There's a couple reasons. One of them involves, does Tony Mansolino want them to stay? If he's going to be the guy, you know what I mean? Another one is, are they interviewing other people right now, but just haven't found the right match yet? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I've ran the numbers myself. I don't want those guys back. And it's not because maybe they weren't the greatest at their job. It just didn't work here. They might be great hitting coaches. I don't know. It didn't work with this team. Whatever message they were sending, it just didn't work. You got to find a different direction. And I was listening to Clint Frazier. Clint Frazier has started his own little podcast, and he talks a lot of Yankees baseball right now. And I think it's called Life After the Field or something like that. I'll have to look it up. I'll post it. But he was talking about approach and how the game is actually changing again to where everybody wanted lift on the ball. Everybody wanted bat speed. And just recently, and potentially maybe just this year, and it started with the Blue Jays and it started with the Tigers, teams are going back to bat to ball. They want guys who can make contact. They want guys who can put the ball in play. Look, you put a good swing on the ball, you're going to hit a home run. That has never changed in baseball. You get a good backspin on the ball, it's going to go over the fence. You do not have to swing up on the ball. You just don't. And I think teams are starting to realize that, and they're shifting their hitting philosophies. And Clint talks about that. And he talks about how the Yankees adjusted their hitting philosophy this year, and guys like Stanton really took off. I mean, Judge is Judge, one of one. I don't think anybody's better. But most of their team hit the ball very well this year. I mean, Bellinger had a pretty decent season. I mean, Volpe was terrible, but I mean, they had some guys that hit fairly good this year. I mean, Goldschmidt had a respectable season for his age. And I just think the Orioles got to get out of this mindset where, and this comes from the top down, this is a Mike Elias issue. And it wasn't just a major league team. It was the minor league levels too, where you just got to swing for the fence all the time. You know, shorten balls up. I think I had seen so far in this playoffs, I think it was last playoff series against the Yankees, the Blue Jays had 18 hits with 2 strikes. 18. I bet you the Orioles didn't even make it a month this year with 18 hits with 2 strikes. In a month. And these guys did it in a 5-game series. You know what I mean? Like, it's the little things about the hitting philosophy where it maybe is not the coach's fault. Like, Tommy Joseph could be, and Cody Ashley could be really great coaches. We don't know. We don't get to sit there and see what kind of drills they work on, how they study film and stuff. All we can see is the numbers and the product on the field. And it failed. It was a complete failure. Again, that's not a testament to how they are as coaches because we don't know what they're being told to push down. Does that make sense? Like, if I come out and be the hitting coach next year and I'm told from Mike Elias, hey, we want our guys to lift and drive the ball. We want them to pull the ball every at bat. Don't worry about the opposite field. We want to hit the ball hard into the pull gap in the air. Right? That's what I have to work with. I can't individually fix each and every player. No, it's pull the ball to the pull side. Pull it in the air. Get out in front. Cheat a little bit. Right? That if that's what they have to work with, then they just look like terrible coaches. And I would also look like a terrible coach if that was my job. So a philosophy change and some fresh ideas would be perfect. And I've talked about this a little bit, and we've started to see a little bit of the changing this year. After they fired Brandon Hyde, everything about Mike Elias changed a little bit. And John Mabry that's not a Mike Elias hire, and I don't know if that was given to him from the top or what, but it was a step in the right direction to change how they do things. And if they can continue to change and evolve in the front office and what they pass down in their philosophies, this is going to be a good baseball team again, regardless of who's leading them in the dugout. So it's just minor things. It's really minor things. Now, Mike's got a tall task order, regardless who manages his team, whether it's Albert, Ryan Flaherty, Jason Varitek, or God himself. God himself is not going to win with this team with his bullpen right now. So Mike's got a lot of things to take care of. So I don't know. I mean, Rodney Linares is another guy that I really, really like as a manager. He was a bench coach for the Rays, I believe. Same thing. The Dominican team trusted him to manage them prior. Been around a lot of great ball players. He knows the game. Benji Molina would be another guy that I would love to interview. Love to interview. He was always one of the smartest catchers around. Was he as good as Yachty? No. I mean, who is, right? But Benji was incredibly smart. He's been managing for a long time now between the minor leagues, Texas's organization a little bit, and then, down in the Dominican and stuff like that. And I think even some of the Mexican leagues he's done it a couple times. But so he's got experience. And same thing, like he has that pedigree because he caught for a lot of teams and for a lot of years and then postseason and all. He has the pedigree that he could bring quality with him. And that, to me, that's the biggest thing. Who can you bring with you? Don't just come over here just to manage the ball club and then, or don't be like a Brandon Hyde situation where you're hired here and then Mike Elias gives you all your coaches. That's not going to fly. So you need to have somebody that can walk in, say, this is what I want, this is who I'm bringing, and you're going to deal with it. And we'll get along, and we're going to make a winning baseball club. You got to have somebody who's got a set of nuts on him that can tell Mike Elias that. Mike's probably not going to like it, but if you want to win ball games, things got to kind of change a little bit, in my opinion. Let's get to some of these comments here. I've been kind of ignoring you guys, and I apologize here. Dream scenario: sign Valdez, trade for Hunter Brown. Hunter Green? Are you talking about Hunter Green, the kid from Cincinnati? Because I seen that they potentially would make him available, and I think, look, that would be an excellent scenario. Just signing Framber Valdez would be great. I wouldn't mind Dylan Cease as long as Dylan Cease is not your only acquisition. I think he's going to chase big money. I don't think he's worth the big money. I think you give him a solid contract, not big money. 4 years, 75, 80 million. He might top that. I don't know. He can still strike a lot of guys out. But if I can get Dylan Cease as my number 3, I'm going to be ecstatic. I would love Valdez, Bradish, Rogers, Grayson. There's Cease in there too. I don't care. That'd be a hell of a 5. Find something. I don't want another Yankees cast off. Still have nightmares over the last one. His name escapes me right now. I don't remember who you're talking about either. We're not going to go that far. Bring Brandon Hyde back. This fan base would light the stadium on fire. That would not be good there. This team needs me. I should be the next manager. I can't even manage the Baltimore Orioles and MLB The Show. Yes, I mean, if you ever listen to Adam Wainwright, so Adam Wainwright would be an outstanding pitching coach. Outstanding. I think he wants to coach, but if you've ever listened to him talk, he does like some Instagram lives once in a while. He's in the booth once in a while in St. Louis. The knowledge that dude has is just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And he could just teach so many of these young kids. And a fun fact, Adam Wainwright's the first professional bat I ever took in my life on a rehab assignment. Did not go well. All right. I already did that one. Let's see. They get Pujols as a manager. Do they go after someone like Adam Wainwright or Yadi or Molina? Yadi's going to be a manager himself. I don't know if it's this year, but Yadi's going to manage somewhere. Yadi and Benji love this stuff. Do I think it's backwards? Yes, 100%. But Garrett, I think how they approach this is Mike is just looking for help, and he's still making all the decisions. So technically, the GM is in place. Who he hires is basically going to be an assistant, and he'll dedicate their time to either the major league team or the minor league side, whichever he feels like he's maybe the weakest at or just needs help with. He's calling all the shots, though. So if they hire a manager first, it's completely fine at that point. Could they be on John Mabry, the hitting coaches? Could, maybe. It depends if they want to give him full control. Again, if his idea and his philosophies are completely different than Mike's, he's going to go a different direction, and he'll just be an advisor. So it all depends. Elias is technically the true GM. Whoever the GM is probably, yes, right. Some fresh ideas from outside the GM would be good. It'd be excellent, to be completely honest with you. Absolutely excellent. Doesn't Linares have a ton of experience? Yes. Yes, he was with Houston for a while. He's been with Tampa Bay. And look, we all know what Tampa Bay does with every freaking young guy they got. They make a stud out of them somehow. Yeah, I saw that. So Veritek is working on a new contract in Boston for the same position. Like, if he doesn't want to sit in the dugout, that's one thing. If he does, like, why is he just accepting that position? Like, unless they're paying him extremely well, I don't know. But that's something that we just don't know. I would love Jason Veritek. Him and Pujols both, just highly respected guys, leaders. Just they would kill it as managers. Let's see. That's the reason Mansolino probably remain in Baltimore. I don't disagree with you, Garrett. There's a chance that he will, but we'll see. We'll see. Who Dey? They were down 10-0, up 17-0 or 17-10 now at halftime is the Bengals. That's crazy, isn't it? Which free agent hitters do I see us getting? That's a great question. I think my number one target, and this is going to shock people, is Miguel Andujar. And he's going to be cheap. He's going to be just like Ramon Laureano. He's going to be a quality right-handed bat who can play some corner outfield, can play third. He's not the greatest, but he has the ability to do it. And when he did it with the Yankees years ago, he fills a really good role for us. I would lock that up early, cheap, $4 or $5 million. Solidify that right-handed hitting backup outfitter, unless you're really confident in Jeremiah Jackson, because Jeremiah Jackson and Miguel Andujar, are very close in the player profile that they are. Jackson obviously being a little bit cheaper, Miguel obviously having the major league experience. So pick what you want there, but potentially almost the same kind of player. But I think they need to make a splash, to be completely honest with you. I would love to go after Pete Alonso. The contract is going to be absurd. It's going to be stupid. And I think people need to kind of warm themselves up to the fact that the Orioles have to overpay again. They overpaid for Tyler O'Neill last year. They had to prove to people that they were ready to go, and they were ready to do this. They have to do it again this year. They have to follow this up. So either that be Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, or Pete Alonso. You got to give yourself a shot. I don't care if somehow maybe you pick up Bo Bichette if he's available. If, you're going to have to get creative here. And if you pick up Bichette, put him at second base, put Holiday out in center field. You have a hole in center field right now. So Holiday can play it. I don't personally think Jackson Holiday's the greatest second baseman in the world. I think his footwork's slow. Just the reads and the jumps just are not great right now. Could they get better? Sure. I think they get better in the outfield. His arm is completely fine for center field. You don't need, somebody that throws 100 miles an hour to play center field, but he's fast. I think he would get better jumps in the outfield than he does at second base. So get yourself a Bregman or a Bo Bichette, a veteran who could set the table in that 2-hole for you or just ignite the offense. Get creative. Like, you've given this core their moment and they haven't succeeded with it. So I'm not saying blow the whole thing up, but I'm saying spend some money and get some top quality players here. And if you're going to bring in somebody like Pujols, he's going to want a veteran. Brian Flaherty might be told just what to do. This is your roster. But guys like Pujols, David Ross, Bochy, Bob Melvin, if they go that route, they're going to demand certain things. And right now, this current roster might be hard for one of those guys to commit to this. Do they think that, the Orioles is going to go give me Charlie Morton again next year or Tomoyuki Sagano? Like, Mike's got a lot to prove. So maybe that's why they haven't already signed a big name person, because the demands are high. There's little things that we don't know. So it's a lot to take into account. Lee Mazzilli, I remember that guy. There you go from Stefan. Yachty's in the talks with the Cardinals to be in the dugout full season. Yachty's going to manage someday. He's definitely going to manage someday. Okay, yes. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he'd be a great target. Is he the third baseman? Murakami's the third baseman, right? What position does Akamoto play? I haven't heard of him. I have to look him up. Rocco Baldelli. Rocco would be okay, I think. I don't know. Like, he was given a bad situation in Minnesota, and I love Rocco as a player. I don't know. I think Rocco would do really well in San Francisco. We'll see how that works out. Stop in and say hi. I appreciate you saying hi, Joe. I miss you, buddy. You love Andujar too? Yeah, dude, Andujar can hit the ball. He can hit the ball. Why has Rafael Palmeiro never been a coach? I think because his kids, they're what, in 1920 now, something like that. I mean, I feel like as a dad, he probably wanted to be there, be more present for their tourney ball years to high school, whatever they're doing post high school, whether that be getting drafted or college or whatever. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to take into account there. Hire David Ross. David Ross would be great. I'll be completely honest with you. David Ross would be fantastic for this baseball team. I just don't know if he would get along with Mike Elias. He wants full reins, and that's why he didn't take the Yankees job a couple of years ago. He wants full reins of everything. He wants to be able to pick the people he wants on his team as what a GM would typically do. So I don't know if Mike is willing to give up that kind of control to David Ross. And look, David didn't win a whole bunch of different things in Chicago, but he had a pretty good team, man. He's seen a lot of great baseball. I love David personally. I think he's a great coach. He was a good leader. Guys loved him. So I just think the Orioles go the route, and Rojas is a good example of this right now. They're going to go the route where no one sees it coming. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to hire a guy, and it's probably going to piss most fans off. But it goes back to, it doesn't matter who they hire, as long as it's the right guy. I don't care if it's somebody on the street that we've never even heard of before, who's never even put on a baseball uniform. But if he comes in there and he gets these guys playing good baseball and they win 90 games, who the hell cares? You know what I mean? Like, we're going to complain in February and March, but if they come out and win 90 games, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, so just find the right guy. And I said it on Twitter, turn over every stone, don't literally interview everybody. Like, if you think somebody is the right candidate, I don't care if you have to go through 30 of these, interview them. And I don't care about the biggest name. I don't care about the best resume. I care about the right guy for the job for this team. Who are you going to bring? What core coaches are you going to bring here to make this team better immediately? And simple stuff like that. Change the hitting philosophy. Let's get back to bat to ball. Let's get back to hitting the ball the opposite way with 2 strikes. Let's get back to moving runners over, running the bases hard. Just simple, basic stuff that I feel like right now the Orioles are kind of lackadaisical on, and they allow these kind of younger players to not really be held accountable if they kind of screw up. Like, early on in Braden Hyde 2023, we saw a lot of first to third. We saw a lot of, some aggressive sends this year, but it just seemed like that grit went away. You remember, what was it? I forget what play it was, but it was against Tampa, and the ball was right in front of Rosarena, and Gunnar went to third, popped up. He's safe. Guy wasn't looking. Steals a bag, gets up, popped up. Gets all. We didn't see that this year. Like, you could just tell the team just kind of knew everything was in the dumps. You just need a guy that can bring the fire back out of these young guys. Remind them that they're superstars, and they made it to the big leagues when most people can't. It's just, you got to find the right guy. Hitting philosophy would make or break 26 no matter the pitching. I 100% agree. 100%. Weakness at the plate makes our pitchers pitch scared. 1,000%. 1,000%. And I will never disagree with that. The best defense for a pitching staff is a good offense. You can go out and make a mistake and know that your offense will still put up 4 or 5 runs. You can give up that 3-run home run in the first inning and settle down and be okay. You do that right now with this team this past year, game's over. They weren't coming back. We saw it all year long. They get down 1 or 2 runs, the game's over for most of the year. So I completely agree with you. The hitting philosophy is going to make or break it, but the mental side of this team is going to make or break them too. They got to remember that baseball is 9 innings, it's 27 outs, and you have to throw the ball over the plate for 27 outs. And some weird crap can happen. We saw it in the Dodgers game. Went from getting perfectoed to winning on a walk-off. Things happen when you have to throw the ball over the plate for 27 outs. And this team, I felt like, lost that way for a good bit of the season, and they need to find somebody that can keep that on them. Third base, first base, outfield. Difference between Kazumura and Murakami. Look, listen, this team struggled to hit velo, so give me a guy that can hit the damn fastball, because since 2023, our average against fastball has just gotten worse every year. Now, they've gotten a little bit better hitting the breaking ball, but they're not finding that balance. They're not finding that balance right now at all. AP would be the right guy to help Holiday in the outfield, who went through as a young guy too. Right. Pujols was what, a left fielder? Moved into first? Or we went from third to left to first? I can't remember the exact story on Pujols. Funny story, though. When I was a rookie with the Marlins, they used to, they lied to us. But it was funny because everybody knew who Albert Pujols was. And they brought us in and they said, does anybody know who Albert Pujols is? And we were all like, yeah, who doesn't? And they were like, oh, we worked him out on this very field. So the Marlins and the Cardinals actually share a spring training complex. And when you get drafted, you always go down to spring training places. So they come in, they said, Pujols was a catcher. Right. They lied to us, but this is the story. They said, yeah, Albert Pujols was a catcher, and he's working out for us, and just wasn't very good. Just wasn't very good. Couldn't hit the ball during his workout. He tried out with the Mets. He tried out with Tampa. Tried out with us. And this whole time, I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, I was 18 at the time, and I'm like, damn, Pujols used to suck. Like, what the hell happened? And the whole thing was a lie, right? And they were like, yeah, he was hitting for us, and there was a guy sitting over in the Cardinals, because the backdrop in the outfield was their spring training facility, and they have windows over top the field. And he was watching him hit and said, I see something in this kid. We need to give him a workout. And they changed one thing on him, and all of a sudden Albert Pujols was Albert Pujols. And I'm like, this is the greatest story I've ever heard. Like, I just need one little change and I'll be the superstar, right? And that's what they wanted you to feel. But it was just funny that they lied to us about it, knowing that Pujols was never a catcher. And then he didn't try out for all those teams, right? It's just funny. I'll never forget that story. But Albert, man, was just, and he did struggle at third and out in the left field. He was not the greatest defender in the world. He just get hit. He was like Ryan Mountcastle coming through the system, just freaking raked. And they just found a spot for him. And then all of a sudden he gets to the big leagues and no one could get him out ever again for the longest time. Albert was fun. I'll wrap this up here. I'm going to cut this kind of short tonight. I think Albert is certainly a good guy for the job. Whether it be Baltimore, San Diego, I don't think it matters. I think Albert is definitely going to be poised to be a pretty good manager. I think he's a guy that kind of keep a locker room together and to keep it close-knit and stuff, bring the right people for. But I want the Orioles to look at more people like Albert. Don't be dead set on that best guy thing. Just turn over every stone, interview everyone, get this together, find the right guy. Like, this is pivotal. It's absolutely pivotal. And I think it's more pivotal. It's all on Mike Elias. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. And just like PJ3P said, it's all about the philosophy. It all goes back to Mike Elias. How much is he willing to give up? Do you want to keep doing everything your way? Have you been told not to do it your way anymore? Or are you going to bring in people to actually teach and coach and do things, their way? Because if you don't, it's going to be another failure season. It's going to be another failure season. Let people that you put in these positions do their job how they want to do it. With a philosophy in mind, but don't adapt to it. Adapt to it. We've seen this 24 and 25 team not adapt well later on to this whole philosophy. Change it. Be open-minded. Let it, kind of circle around and try different things, right? Be aggressive, maybe. Like, use your analytics. If this guy throws a lot of first pitch fastballs, hey, this game here, I want everybody chasing the first pitch. Like, if you get one to hit, let's get at it. And then you go to the next game. Okay, this guy, likes to throw a lot of balls, or he likes to, he sits on the corners a lot. Let's work the counts here. Let's get that pitch count up. Let's get him out of here by the fourth inning. Adapt to every game. Don't just say, we're going to go do this. Let's do it every night. And when it doesn't work, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, That's the kind of thing that's going to make or break this team. That right there. So, do I think Mayo gets traded for a pitcher? I hope he does. I think Kobe's going to be a great player in this league when somebody fixes him. But if he goes and hits 40 home runs, but I get a number 2 starter, I don't care. I really don't. Cool. That's how I feel about it. I'm not hanging on to a first baseman / DH if I can go acquire a top end arm. I could care less if he hits 75 home runs a year. Doesn't play a position for me. That's just how I feel. I'd rather have the arm. But I'm going to wrap this up tonight. It's been a long week, man. I went into work at like 4 this morning because my kid woke me up. I'm exhausted. It's already 10:06. I appreciate you guys coming in. I need to get back here doing this more again. It's been a rough season with football. I've been exhausted. So I'll catch you guys later, and thanks for hopping in.